Alright, welcome guys to, this is my first attempt at doing a live stream. This is going to be one of my chats, where we're kind of seeing, I've got, let's make sure that I can't hear myself. Okay, I think we've got it set. All right, I had my own voice in my ear was freaking me out. So anyway, this is my first attempt at a stream. I've done streaming before with Twitch and with YouTube, but this is the first one for Tabletop Ready Miniatures. So welcome to the channel, Tabletop Ready Miniatures. We're a painting and assembly service. We also have a secondhand web store. If you want to go check us out at tabletopreadyminiatures.com. Links are in the description down below. So anyway, today I wanted to talk about, tonight anyway, I want to talk about Age of Sigmar, and specifically Armies versus Grand Alliances. And the reason is because I was watching a Monday Musings with Phil over at Wargamer Online. So if you guys haven't heard of them, you should check them out. I can't imagine if you're watching me, you haven't heard of them. So yeah, check them out. They got great content. But anyway, Phil and I believe it was it Sam? We're talking, and they were kind of having a discussion about Age of Sigmar versus Warhammer 40k. Which one was not necessarily better, but flavor-wise, which one was better. Sam was of the opinion that Warhammer 40k was better, flavor-wise, and Phil disagreed. And now they had this discussion right after 8th edition Warhammer 40k had come out, and we had those indexes, right? So all the different armies for Warhammer 40k got clumped into indexes. Right here. Let me pull up so I can make sure I can see what I'm doing. Yeah. So you all remember these indexes. You know, so this one obviously had Orcs, Tau, you know, Tyranids, and Gene Stealer Cult. Anyway, so they all got clumped, and he was saying how Phil was saying how there was not a lot of flavor anymore. They're all clumped in these little books, and that basically without a codex of their own, there's not much there. And I think there had been a couple of codexes that had come out. Space Marines had come out, and I think Chaos Space Marines had come out. Anyway, a couple of codexes had come out, and he was saying if you look at those, you know, they've got lots of flavor. They've got their own relics. They've got their own stratagems. They've got all their own, you know, a couple of their own missions and things like that. That's kind of what gives them flavor. For Warhammer 40k, and that the most of them don't have codexes. And it got me thinking about Age of Sigmar, because I loved Warhammer Fantasy, and I'm getting into Age of Sigmar, but I'm having a hard time, and it's, you know, obviously Age of Sigmar has been out for 2 years, and we've had 2 General's Handbooks, and you know what I'm saying, blah 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 blah. Lots of different reasons to hate Age of Sigmar, lots of different reasons to like Age of Sigmar. But the thing that I get hung up on, personally, is this whole Grand Alliances versus Armies. And I understand when Age of Sigmar came out, the whole concept was play with whatever miniatures you want. Who cares? Which is fine. Again, the whole reason was, hey, we need new people. We need new people. Warhammer Fantasy had gotten stale. You needed, you know, 800. You needed anywhere from like, you know, $600 to $1,000 to even get a starting army to play anybody, because you had to play at least 2,000 points, and you had to, with the ranked infantry and all that jazz, and it took hours and hours and hours to get an army ready. So I understand they were like, oh, we need a new thing, we're gonna break everything up, and make it super easy for anyone. You can buy a couple of boxes of whatever you want, and off to the races. And over the past 2 years, they've really kind of organized things. Obviously, we got the match play, we've got points, power, whatever, points or whatever. I don't care about those, but we actually have points for models now. And we're kind of standardizing things. But one of the things that frustrates, and again, it goes back to the thing that frustrates me the most is I personally am a purist. So I don't like, the even the thought of, oh, I'm going to have some orcs, and I'm going to have some undead, and oh, I'm going to have some lizard men, and they're all going to, because they all look cool, and those are the ones I like, and I'm going to put them all together and I'm going to play. I can't do that. And even so then, like I said, you have the grand alliances of order, death, destruction, and chaos. And yeah, you could do a plethora of chaos demons and blah blah blah, but I was always a fan of armies. And 40K, even though all the armies got put into these indexes, orcs are still orcs. So you have the orcs, Tau, Tyranids, and Genestealer cults all share one index, but they're still individual armies. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to pull some orcs and some Tyranids and some Tau and have them fight together. That's not how you do it. It's going to be orcs, or it's going to be Tyranids, or it's going to be Tau. And yes, Warhammer 40K, you could have like allies before and things like that, but you can also have allies in Age of Sigmar. So, to get to the point, the crux of the argument, you look at the Grand Alliance here, and you have all these different armies. It doesn't make sense. Some of them do, some of them don't. They took, like, for example, they took Empire, and they took Dwarfs, and they took High Elves, and they took Dark Elves, and they took Wood Elves, and they broke them into a bazillion different pieces. So you have the Wanderers, and the most notable thing, and what frustrates me, and isn't a good example, is like the High Elves. You have the Eldritch Council, you have the Phoenix Temple, you have the Swifthawk Agents, Order Draconis. The Dark Elves are the same way. Order Serpentis, Scourge Privateers, Daughters of Cain, Darkling Covens. You have all these different. You took an army, the Empire, and you broke it into 5 or 6 or 7 different pieces, and like, why? Honestly, why? Why would you? It just, to me, that's stupid. And it's becoming more and more apparent how frustrated I am, because with the battle tombs, so for example, you have the Fire Slayers, right, that have their own book, and it grants them battalion benefits, and so it's kind of a benefit, kind of like theme lists with War Machine and Hordes. You get benefits for taking a pure army, but because most of these factions were broken up so ridiculously, you can't take a really big army. You look at Fire Slayers again as a perfect example. You have 3 different heroes on the Beast. You have 4 different heroes on foot, or 5 or 6 different heroes on foot, and you have 1 battle line unit that's pure battle line, and 2 other battle line units, of which each one can become, or 2 other infantry units that can become battle line units if you take a certain leader. as your general. But again, you have 3 different units for Fire Slayers, like actual infantry units. That's it, 3. So I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna build an army, especially the Sustainable Center was talking. Anthony was talking about how most people want to play Age of Sigmar, want to play like 2,000 points. 2,000 points of Fire Slayers. I'm gonna have to run 3 to 4, monsters, and then I'm gonna have 30 to 60 of the battle line infantry and 20 to 30 of each other or whatever of the other 2. It's all the same unit. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like with Warhammer Fantasy, you had so much variety that you could choose from, and you could kind of customize. With this, you can't really customize because you have battle tombs for very tiny armies, factions. The only ones that are actually quite large are the Seraphim and Lizardmen and the Stormcast Eternals. Those are the only ones that are like quite large. For the most part, everything else is ridiculously small. Like Daughters of Cain. They don't have their own battle tomb. I mean, you could go to Sylvaneth, right? They actually have a few more units. They have the Kurnoths, 2 different types of Kurnoths, 2 different types of these guys. They have the Wraiths, and then they have like 6 different types of trees. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, honestly, how many units do you really have? Not a whole lot of different types of units. You do have a few of each different alliance. Like, for example, Chaos have, like the Blades of Corn have a ton. Disciples of Zeech had like quite a few extra new ones. But like the clans, right? The clan, Skaven. Why would you break them all up? Pestilent. Like before, you had, clan rat, or I keep calling them clan rats, Skaven, and you had all these different types. You had the plague monks, and you had the just normal clan rats, and you had all these different types of things, and all hell pit abominations, and you could pick and choose. Now they're all broken apart, and not all of them have books. Clan Pestilence, the plague monks, are the only ones that have a book, and they have plague monks, a plague furnace, a plague claw catapult. These are out of stock, but censer bearers and priests. But the priests you can get off of like a plague furnace. So it's like, it's how do you build an army out of that? Like an honest 2,000 point army? You can't. And so you either have to play up to a Grand Alliance, Chaos, or or you lose the benefits. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, that's kind of like my frustration. Let me know what you guys think about it, what your thoughts are. I feel like by breaking everything up, you've lost the flavor of Age of Sigmar. Because if you want a specific faction, say for example, Beastclaw Raiders, I think they're what they're called. They took the ogres, and they took 2 units. They took the Stormfang, Stonehorn, kit that can make like 3 different types of things with the hunter and the general, and then just the ogres on top. You have that, and you have Mornfang cavalry and some yetis and some saber-tusks. It's like you had all these ogres, amazing, fantastic ogres, and we're going to take these pieces, give them a book, and put them aside. So if you want the benefits, it has to be a pure army, right? They get that benefit of like moving quicker and being able to charge quicker. But yeah, so you have to take just them. So if you want allies, you can only take 200 points in a 1,000 point army, or 400 points in a 2,000 point army. It just doesn't make any sense. So if you want to actually bring more ogres, because they're just, if you look, they're ogres on those Mornfang Cavalry and on the Stonehorn. I think it's Stonehorn. You know what I'm saying? So why are these ogres not the same? Why are they not all clumped together? Why aren't these factions bigger? You know, it's the same thing with, I mean, you look at every single faction, every single army of Warhammer Fantasy, and they've broken them all apart. And it just, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Other than, yes, you want to make it easier for anyone and everyone to just kind of pick out whatever pieces they wanted, but you could have done that anyway and left them in the armies. So that's my gripe. That's my frustration. That's something that I don't understand. So if you guys have any ideas as to why it is, any workarounds, any comments, any rebuttals to what I've talked about, please leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that like button. And again, like I said, we are Tabletop Ready Miniatures, and we are painting and assembly service. Our contact information is in the description down below. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you guys next time.